Here I am at Jekyll Island, Driftwood Beach, the very famous beach, on a very windy and cloudy day. It's my first walk here of this particular trip, and last year when I came, my first walk was also similar, very kind of dark and not the best weather. I think this place really shines in sunrise with the sun coming in, but that is not what we have here right now. It's high tide, high wind. Hopefully I can cut a lot of that out of the audio so that I sound better as I walk around these trees, which is just such a cool aspect of this place. So what I'm trying to do here is still accentuate the magic of this place, but there's also fantasy, I guess you could say, because it's a little less dreamy in this particular weather. And with the high tide, strong waves, trying to find the action in the waves. That's one way to give life to this otherwise kind of dead feeling atmosphere. Since it's so gray, there's action in the waves. We have some really nice foreground objects on the bottom and the top left that frame this image a little bit more interestingly and add a little bit of tension, I think, between the actual subject and where we are as like the viewer's eye. And there's a lot of action here because the wave crashing is so violent. So compounding these two things, I think, make for a really interesting image. But otherwise, finding the shapes of the trees and using the trees as foreground objects is a great way to add a little bit of interest without color to these images. And that's something I'm practicing here. I definitely feel better about what I've got so far than I did on my first walk around last year, which is a good thing. So as I keep walking around and showing footage, these are things I'm working on. I think it's going well. I think what really helps is just really paying attention to the shapes and where the action is happening with the water, with the waves, and waiting for timing. You know, not just taking a quick photo and walking off, waiting for a wave to crash or a wave to go away so that I can see what I'm photographing more. There's a variety there, and it depends on the framing, the composition, and your subject. So that is something to just be very patient with, and something that I'm practicing here, that even though it seems chaotic, patience is the key factor to making this work. So I'm feeling pretty good about these images so far in this walk. It is stunning, even though it is so windy and kind of dismal in that regard. There are a lot of dark clouds. There are people on the beach, but as I was coming here, there's definitely more cars going the opposite way. It's like noon though, so there's a whole day ahead of us and working on, seeing how the weather goes and adapting to that and adapting my photography to that as well. Don't be pushed away just because the conditions of a walk aren't preferable or to what you expect. Adapt. This is a perfect place for me to practice that, but also to share this message of just adapt to the conditions that you're in, work with them, try to use them to your favor and use them to tell the story in your images. And that's what I'm trying to do with the wind, with the waves, with the gray color, and using the trees as the color and the life of these images. Using foreground objects here to frame the world itself with all these messy, gnarly branches at the bottom. And then we see this one tree sticking out through the water. I was really fascinated by this tree, took a lot of pictures of it, and the sky itself framing this all. So that tree really is the subject that sticks out, but within the context that we have created here with the foreground objects. Sometimes there's a little haze. One thing you can do in post is use the clarity slider. Making a negative clarity will kind of make images feel more hazy. Man, the wind is not doing anything nice for my haircut here, but using that clarity slider a little bit to edit the photos. You can also tint the white balance just a little bit. I do some of that in camera to get warmer colors or cooler colors, and this is one of those days where some of that will definitely come in handy. Just trying to use this as a blank canvas to be creative and a little inventive with how I'm capturing this just unique, amazing part of the world. I guess I could have helped out my hair by just putting this hood on. Also protects my neck a little bit. We got a cruise, not a cruise, but like a big industrial ship going out. Got some cool shots of that as well. Another thing that I need to consider when it's so bright out here is chromatic aberration. If my aperture is all the way open to try and get more details, that is when you'll see kind of on the edges of details of trees, it'll be like kind of purple or green, and that is not very good. It bothers me, and that's something I really struggled with last year because I was shooting all the way open the whole time. But so it's just a matter of stopping down to f2, f2.4, and using my other settings like ISO and shutter speed to counteract kind of the brightness and get details. So that's something else that really needs to be considered in a day like this. I'm here at Driftwood Beach on Jekyll Island for a few days. I've got definitely a lot of videos coming out about my trip here and different photography centered things, and not just Driftwood Beach, different places on Jekyll Island. So hopefully you'll subscribe to my channel for more content photography based from this trip. And not only that, hopefully I'll have nicer looking hair in future videos with less wind, but a lot of wind coming up in the next couple days and then some sun at the end. So I'll definitely be able to get the full gamut of weather and conditions, high tide, low tide at Driftwood Beach. So make sure to stay tuned for that and hopefully enjoy this video. I've been Tony King. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.